Hey, and welcome to It's Not All Doom and Gloom, episode 5. And today we are doing some more of the weirdest trivia questions. If you haven't seen episode 4 of the podcast, go check it out for weirdest trivia questions episode, technically 1 in this series. So today we are looking at some more weird trivia questions. Also, just a little side note to help the podcast, if you want to donate by PayPal, Super Chat, Super Thanks, or become a member of this channel, that would be amazing. So today we are looking at the weirdest trivia questions. So if you saw the previous episode, we had some really weird questions. So it's on this website, and you go on there and it gives you 75 of the weirdest trivia questions with the answers, and they are some of the more stranger questions. So without any further ado, let's get into the first one. So, what classic salty snack tastes uber buttery but is surprisingly vegan? So, what classic salty snack tastes uber buttery but is surprisingly vegan? So, honestly, I don't know. Classic salty snack tastes uber buttery. I don't know. I don't know. Anyone have any ideas? I'm stumped. Classic salty snack tastes uber, but what? Popcorn? Popcorn is vegan? We'll go for popcorn. Ritz crackers are vegan. I had no idea. Okay, watch out, you're watching. That must be a felony. What common American federal crime do many Netflix streamers commit, perhaps on accident? Is that where they share their password? Is that the felony now, that sharing your password to Netflix is a felony? Because at no point till recently did Netflix say you couldn't share the password. Back in the day, they were encouraging people to share passwords because more bums on seat for Netflix. Now they don't want you to share passwords because they're not making enough money. So it's got to be the password thing. It's got to be now they've decided that they need money, they can't have everybody having the same password. Is it the password? Watching movies and television from a friend's Netflix account. Ooh, so if my son lent me his Netflix account and I started watching it, apparently that's not allowed. I should technically have my own account. So it's technically sharing your password. So, an ironic item to supply. Though smoking is illegal on flights, what piece of smoking paraphernalia must be kept on every plane in case of emergency? Now, I'm going to assume that is a lighter, and that is to either light your way in the dark, to light a fire. I would say that every plane has a lighter on it to basically be safe, because you can light your way if you crash. You could start a fire with it. You can ward off dangerous animals depending on where you crash. If you crash in a jungle or something, you can like wave it around me. I don't know. Yeah, I would say, ironically, although you can't smoke on a plane, that you'd have a lighter on a plane. Apparently, it's ashtrays. Apparently, planes have ashtrays. I would have said a lighter. Okay. A less holy occupation. What's an unlikely job that Pope Francis astoundingly used to work as? What's an unlikely job that Pope Francis astoundingly used to work as? Pope Francis. Was he like a janitor or something, like a cleaner? Something like menial to like the human race, basically. Oh, I don't know, maybe a janitor, something like that. Someone like really low in society, and then to think, well, he's Pope. Like, let's have a look. He worked as a bouncer at a nightclub. He worked as a bouncer at a... What? The Pope Francis worked as a bouncer in his life? Well, I mean, if everyone likes to party, don't they? Okay, the science of warmth. How much taller can the Eiffel Tower grow in the heat of the summer due to the warming of the tower ions? So basically, the Eiffel Tower is designed so that the metal expands, so it appears slightly taller due to the metal that was used to make it, and because of the heat, and because it is entirely metal. How much taller does that appear? It can't be much. It can only be like a fraction of like an inch of tallness, that it expands, because if not, the structure would lose integrity, would it not? Yeah, it's got to be like an inch or something, or something smaller than an inch. It can't be much more than that. I would say it's not much more than that. Up to 15 centimeters taller. Okay. Had no idea about that. A candy abbreviation. What do the M's of M&M's stand for? So the M&M's, I believe, stand for the two people that made M&M's, and I cannot remember their names. I thought it was the names of the two owners that made M&M's. Yeah, I would say it's the two owners. It ain't gonna be something like marvelously Moorish, is it? Or magic and marvelous. It's gonna be like their names. I think that's pretty obvious that it would be their names, kind of like Ben and Jerry's. But let's take a look. The names of the candy realtors: Forrest Mars and Bruce Murray. Yeah, it was named after their names. That's pretty simple. Okay, ever wondered about a sloth's digestion? Because of course you have. Predictably, sloths' metabolisms are slower than that of any other mammal. How long does it take a sloth to digest its food? Now, I'm going to assume, as this is possibly one of the slowest creatures on Earth, that their digestive system isn't going to work like on a 24 cycle like a human body does. How long does it take a sloth to digest its food? I'd probably say a couple of days. Sloths do seem like this kind of creature that's very nonchalant. They kind of move incredibly slowly. Beautiful creatures, mind you. Their faces are so picturesque. Their claws, obviously, because they hang on the trees, are not so. I would say something like 48 hours, maybe. 2 to 4 weeks. Damn, they're still digesting food up to a month later. Okay. Okay, an apt honor. What happened to the body of the inventor of the frisbee after his death? Now, they're probably going to want me to say, well, they threw it up in the air like a frisbee and whoosh, he was gone. Maybe he was like encrusted into a frisbee and kept. I mean, that would be kind of cool. What happened to the body of the inventor of the frisbee after his death? So they want you to say that he was turned into a frisbee and thrown around by his children. I don't know, something like that. Something weird. I don't know. Maybe he just had a normal burial. I mean, just because you invented the frisbee doesn't mean you have to have a crazy burial, does it? His ashes were turned into a frisbee. See, there you go. Predictability that he was turned into a frisbee. Dasher and Dancer. What rare animal was kept on the British submarine, the HMS Trident, for 6 weeks during World War II? What rare animal was kept on the British Marine, the HMS Trident, for 6 weeks during World War II? Which rare animal was kept on the Trident? So it's got to be an animal that can deal with being on a submarine. So not necessarily submerged, but could do with the air pressure. Because obviously animals have a slightly different respiratory system to humans. Did they keep? Question would be why. What rare animal? Maybe they had a peacock. Maybe they had a peacock on the submarine. The question again has to be, why would they take a rare animal onto a submarine during World War II anyway? I mean, just saying. Let's go for a peacock. I don't know. They had a reindeer on there. They kept a reindeer during, what was it, over Christmas time maybe? For those keeping questions coming, between the ages of 2 and 5, how many questions does a child ask on average? 1,000,000. Some kids just don't know when to zip it. They're like, but why? And I'm like, because it's this. Yeah, but why? Like, will you just kids do ask a lot of questions. They're constant. Sometimes I've seen kids out and about and they've wanted something in a toy store and their parents have said no. And they're like, but why? And the mother's gone, but we can't afford it. And they're like, but why? And they're like, because we don't have money this month. But why? Look, we're broke, okay? Yeah, but does that mean I still can't have it? And I'm just like, oh my God, Jesus. Like, child, get it. um, I bet you, between the ages of 2 and 5, how many questions did a child ask on average? I bet 1,000. A kid could ask you 100 questions a day, quite easily. 40,000 questions. Oh, God. Maybe we should retire the idioms. What's the morbid origin of the term rule of thumb? Ooh, the morbid origin of rule of thumb. Now, I know a lot of macabre stuff, but I don't know this one. What is the morbid origin of the term rule of thumb? So it's got to be something to do with breaking your thumbs. I know it sounds brilliant, doesn't it? The rule of the term rule of thumb has got to do with something as in like breaking, taking away, removing your thumbs. I don't know why. The morbid origin of the term of rule of thumb. Maybe it's somewhere to do with like either Greece or Egypt, like a punishment maybe. I honestly don't know about this one. Let me know what you think. Remember to guess in the comments of all of these. Share your answers. Did you do well? Did you not do well? Okay, let's have a look at the rule of thumb. Because I have no idea. An old English law stated that a husband cannot beat his wife with an object wider than a thumb. Oh, that was it. Yeah, he couldn't beat his wife with anything bigger than this. So if he wanted to pick up a plank of wood and beat her with it, it had to be a thin plank of wood. Like that makes a difference. Oblique social media. In 2011, what ratio of divorce filings mentioned Facebook in their deposition? I'm going to say quite a bit. Social media has inflamed the divorce count, whether it's talking on Facebook, talking on Snapchat, illicit meetings on Tinder and Plenty of Fish or Match or something like that. What ratio of divorce filings in 2011 mentioned Facebook in their deposition? I'm going to say about 30%. I don't think it's a massively high, but I don't think it's low either. I'm going to say 30%, based on the fact that social media in 2011 wasn't completely rife, but it was enough to suggest that people would do, 1 out of every 3 divorce filings. Ooh, what ratio? Ooh, 1 out of 3. So 30% is probably about right. 1 out of every 3 people. So, okay. Onion rings sound good. Which famous singer had a secret Instagram account exclusively for reviewing onion rings? I'll let that sink in. Just why? Who had a secret account for onion rings? Like, honestly, I don't know. It's gonna be someone weird, like Lady Gaga was reviewing onion rings. Like, which famous singer or Madonna was reviewing onion rings? Someone crazy. Taylor Swift was reviewing onion rings. Let's go for Madonna. Madonna loves her onion rings. It's Lord. Yeah. But then Lordy's, is she British? And, hipsters try to find this car colour. What is the least popular car colour internationally? Probably red. Soviet red sort of thing. I'd probably say red, either red or white. So I'll read the question again. What is the least popular car colour internationally? I'm probably going to say red. Red was the first thing I thought of, second to white. And red was because of red being associated with Russia and that kind of thing. Yeah, I would have said red. Purple cars are the least. How many purple cars do you see? Purple? Who has a purple car? I don't see hardly any people in the UK with purple cars. The most popular car in the UK, I believe, is either blue or white. Although you do get some random cars nowadays. The amount of pink cars I've seen recently and yellow. Okay, and the last question for today's podcast. Question 30. How many school districts does Hawaii have? See, they're very random questions. I mean, why would you know this? To be fair, cars you might know about. You might know about cars. But how many school districts does Hawaii have? Now, Hawaii is in America. I don't know anything about Hawaii. So we're doing really well. How many school districts do they have? I'm going to guess either a lot or none at all. Maybe they don't even have schools in Hawaii. I don't know. Don't know. Someone help me. I don't know. Maybe they have 3. 3 school districts. I mean, the UK doesn't really live in districts of schools. Most towns have a school, however big, whether it's a primary or a high school. So let's go 3. 1 single school district. Okay, so they have just the one. So like I said, they probably have 1 or none at all. So that is some of the 75 questions. We are only on question 30, and don't worry, I plan to do all 75 of these weird questions. Next week's podcast, I think for a week, I'm going to go back to the getting to know me questions that we were doing and do some more of them, and then come back to this in another week's time. So if you want to like and subscribe and give us a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. It's Not All Doom and Gloom podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this, something a bit different. If you want to like and subscribe, that would be amazing. If you want to donate to the channel to help the podcast, a PayPal, Super Chat, Super Thanks, or become a member, or just share this out. Every little helps. If you want to check out the rest of the podcast, there is a playlist, and I will see you very soon. Thank you for watching. It's not all doom and gloom. Bye, guys.